Hey everyone, today we are starting Unit 3, which is about healthcare systems and healthcare agencies. So by now you've probably already completed the healthcare agencies Nearpod assignment and taken notes. The next thing you're going to be working on is your Our Town project. Now this project has had to be modified from what we would normally do in class. Typically you have 1 week to complete this project in class with a group. And you actually build 3D models of your towns using recycled materials and boxes and paper and craft supplies. But because you are at home, you're now going to be doing these projects on your own, and you are going to be making them digitally. So first, let's talk about what is the Our Town project. You have basically been hired by the town planners to design the layout of a new town that is rapidly growing around a medical university. You must determine the necessary health facilities needed by the town, decide with your group, but you'll be deciding by yourself which medical facilities are needed and where they should be located. You must include at least 7 healthcare facilities, and you get a budget of $10 million. So you have to be careful when you're deciding which facilities are the most beneficial for your town. You must also include the new housing development, which will be located in town and strategically placed near local restaurants, parks, schools, and retail stores around your town in order to convenience the new residents moving into the area. You must also include 5 non-healthcare related facilities, such as restaurants and stores, and make sure that you stay under budget. You also have to create a town name and think about the layout versus necessity. You may include more than the 7 required healthcare facilities and 5 non-healthcare, but only if you have the money left over to do so. So you're probably wondering, how do I know how much each thing costs? On this page, which you will be getting on Canvas, is the pricing information. You have $10 million, which is right here, so you can see what that looks like, in order to put all of these facilities in your town. The medical university and the housing development are free. Those were already provided to you. Everything else you have to choose and select and keep up with what you spend. So for example, up here are all of your healthcare facilities. So you have to pick which kinds you want to be able to include in your town. And then down here are things like Walmart, a mall, other types of retail stores, and you can pick any retail store, so you can name it whatever you want it to be. Grocery stores, parks, playgrounds, school system, all of that good stuff. So you really have to think about what your town's going to need. Next, you're also going to be keeping up with how much you spend. So you have a deductions page, which you will write down like what you're spending all of your money on. So you'll list like a Walmart, how much it cost, a school system, how much it cost, a hospital, how much it cost. You also need to include your town name. And then down here, I have a little thing that reminds you what you need to include. 1 university medical school, which is no charge, 1 housing development, which is no charge. And then under here, I have listed the demographics of your housing development. So your housing development is 50% college students that attend the medical university, 30% middle-aged adults with families, so they may have kids, and then 20% of adults over the age of 65. Use that information to decide what kind of healthcare agencies or facilities you might need to include. Remember that you have to have a minimum of 7 healthcare facilities and a minimum of 5 other non-healthcare facilities. And I really want you to think about your location, cost, reasoning, and demographics. So you're going to be creating these towns on a thing called Google Draw. If you've never used Google Draw, it's really simple. It's got a lot of different features. You just have to mess around and play with it. I will be including a template that you can start this. This will be your template that you'll receive, where you can kind of start out, or you can completely create your own from scratch. So here you can see I have a bunch of different roads and some circles and things. And then I have a medical university kind of in the center of the city. And over here, I have my housing development. Now I'm going to be choosing which facilities I want to include and doing all of my math and then laying those out on here. The way that you add different buildings and shapes is you go up here to shape, you just click on it, click on shapes. It'll give you all these different options. If you just want to make them very basic and simple, that is perfectly fine. So, we may say, I think we're going to need a Walmart over here. Okay, so we're just going to call this my Walmart. Maybe I will change the color up here to blue because that is what color Walmart is. And then you also need to make sure that you label each of these things. So to label them, you go to Insert, Text Box, and you just drag and drop right here. I'm just going to write Walmart. And then I like to make mine bold, and I like to center it in the middle. Okay, so then you can even add logos and things if you want to. You could go to Insert, Image, search the web. I'm going to Google Walmart. And I'm going to just find an image I like and click Insert. And then make it much, much, much smaller. And I'm going to put it over here inside of my little Walmart building. Okay, so then you have to think about, why did I put my Walmart right here? Well, maybe I put Walmart right here because I want it to be close to the housing development and still have easy access to where families can get to it. Maybe I want to add, let's see, shape. Maybe I think we're going to need a hospital. Okay, because we have a medical university, but we don't have anywhere to go to actually receive medical care. So maybe I'm going to include a hospital. I'm going to insert. Now, when you're looking at hospitals, you have many different kinds of hospitals, which you learned about in your notes. So if you look back at the budget sheet, you can see a general hospital, specialty hospital, government hospital, and university medical center all have different price points, and you can choose what kind you want. Because we are right next to a university, it might be beneficial to have a university medical center, but it does cost more. So maybe you don't want to have that and you want to only get a general hospital. Remember that different types of hospitals can take different types of patients and are able to provide different levels of care. So I'm going to just do a general hospital. And maybe I want to also add an image again. I'm just going to Google hospital. And then, of course, I'm going to have to make it much, much smaller. And you can also make things like you can turn them to fit inside of your box. Kind of, imagine that if this was on like Street View, what it would actually look like. Okay, so you're going to go through and you're going to do that for all of your different healthcare and non-healthcare facilities. Part one of this project is to actually watch this video, to choose a town name, and to choose which facilities you want to include and go ahead and start working on your budget. That is what is actually due for today, for Monday. Part two of this assignment is I want you to just on a piece of paper create a sketch of what you think you want your city to look like. And you're going to just take a picture of that and send it to me. And then part three of this project is actually creating this digital version of your town. And after you create your town, you also have to write a one-page reflection explaining which facilities you chose and why. Thinking again about demographics, your reasoning, your location, your layout. So that is the Our Town project. You will have access to this template, a blank template, and the Our Town packet or information page. But if you have any questions, as always, reach out to me on Remind or on email, and I will get back to you as soon as possible.